Who am I speaking with?
Dave Hoover,
Who are you with, Dave?
GroupOn.
Actually, I could just pull back and show your T-shirt. There it is, GroupOn. Hey, you just gave a great presentation about heedful programming. For those who don't know what that means, explain.
It means paying attention to what you're doing as you're doing it, basically. But I mean, like, what it would break down to is, I think the fundamental practice of heedful programming is retrospectives, which is basically once a week, once every 2 weeks, maybe more frequently, sitting down as a team and asking how things are going, how can we improve things, what are things that trouble us, what are things that we need to do differently, and just really adapting your process along the way.
And ultimately, you talk about the hopeful goal is I guess the collective mind or a collective group, and why is that a key goal?
So yeah, I mean, this was kind of all based on this kind of academic paper that I read about aircraft carrier crews, and how they achieve this collective mind state to be able to deal with the complexities of dealing with tons of aircraft on the open sea. And so I just kind of went through a lot of the different practices that I feel like contribute to collective mind for software development teams.
So let's go through them. We were chatting about them. Let's walk through. Start with your favorite.
Right. So I mentioned one, which is adaptation through retrospectives. I think another really important one, and one that they found in this study, was that the way that newcomers are brought onto the team is insanely important for how this collective mind is achieved. So being friendly and welcoming and having a good onboarding process for new people coming onto your team is important.
I always love that when you first start a job, they say, "Oh, you must be really busy. We're going to let you be." I'm like, "What? I just started. There's nothing to do."
Yeah, I mean, like I know from working in companies that grow fast, people can get really frustrated when they come in and just be overwhelmed by a lot of different information. And people's time is insanely important. So the more you can optimize your onboarding process to get them up to speed faster, and the more welcoming you can be, and not just welcoming with like welcome packets and things like that, but actual, interaction with, people that have been there for a long time, and including making those connections between newbies and old timers is like one of the fundamental ways of achieving a collective mind.
Yes, because as you said, you can't always hire senior programmers because they aren't in plentiful supply and not easy to get. The one I thought I was really intrigued by, when you talked about extreme programming. Explain.
Well, extreme programming is something that's been around for about, I don't know, the first book was, I think, written in 1999, so it's been around. But it's a set of practices, and it kind of grew in a set of software development practices like pair programming, writing your tests first, cleaning up your code continuously, all the way. So those are very technical practices, but there's also practices about how you go about estimating and deciding what work's going to be done in the next chunk of time, which they call iterations. So extreme programming is a pretty, at this point, solid set of practices that people like to use.
Well, I thought it had to do with if you're not good at something or something scares you, just do it a lot.
Right, and so that's one of the underlying principles of extreme programming is if something hurts, do it all the time. So if it's hard to integrate your code every 3 months, well, you should be doing it every day or once a month, and speed up that feedback loop, because it's going to force you to make it less painful.
One of the other examples I liked is purposely breaking up groups, which I thought was an interesting thing. What's the advantage of doing that?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say it's great to just kind of come in and wreak havoc and split groups up, but to go maybe if your company isn't like in a fast growth mode, and it is painful for you to onboard new people, one way to deal with that is actually have some team rotation. And it goes back to that same principle of if it hurts, you do it more. So if it's hard to rotate people, try doing it more.